Hello, welcome back. This is part 2. I just want to spend a little bit more time digging into this. So let's just get started. So last time we kind of just kicked things off. I'm going to be using this chart from the Stoic Registry, and I'm going to be using my AI one for the terminology, the original terminology. Some of the terminology is missing and it's not a perfect diagram, and AI made it. But I just want to dig in a little bit more. I think let's just get into physics a little bit. In my mind, I'm going to be relating all of these Stoic physics concepts to the ethics wherever I can. So let's start with physics. First of all, just let's make this a side-by-side situation. So we're going to do that and this. So let me see where my camera is, make sure I'm not in the way. Okay, I'm a little bit in the way. I'm going to move that there. That should be fine. Let's see. Yeah, that should be okay. Let's get into it. So, Stoic physics. All questions relating to the physical world, ontology, and empirical sciences, i.e., astronomy, meteorology. So that's cosmos. That's everything here. Although in this diagram it splits ethics over here, which makes anthropos, most of the Stoic anthropology, a different topic. So we're going to be talking about all this stuff up here: cosmos, logos, ousia, sympatheia, physis, or natura. The fundamental assertion of Stoic physics is that only bodies exist. So it's a very materially oriented philosophy. So all things are physical in Stoicism, except for a very specific category of things that are called incorporeals this here: asomata, or without body, subsistence. Now, the weird thing about these is that it's like void. Void, you can't really say it's a thing, because a void is literally the opposite of a thing. But at the same time, it is real ontologically. It has a reality to it. Void or nothingness has a reality to it. And so they say it subsists. In my mind, I still kind of interpret that as a real thing. I would even say they made a mistake and should have just said that it is real. It's just, or it is a physical thing, because you could make an argument for that. I don't see why you can't make an argument for void being a physical thing. But anyway, weird. They don't count it as physical, but they count it as real. They give it an ontological reality. T is the original word for something real, and then it's split into things that subsist and things that exist. Somata. So this makes up most of everything, and it includes somata, which is the plural for body, so bodies. So now this is where my knowledge is exploring now. Juxtaposition: salt and sugar mixed in a bowl. Fusion: ingredients when cooked together makes a third entity and cannot be separated. Third way: total blending: wine and water, but can be separated again. So, in our modern understanding of physics, these are revised. People who practice Stoicism in the modern times don't subscribe to these, obviously, because our understanding of physics in general has completely transformed. So this entire branch here is completely transformed because science is just so powerful. Within the realm of bodies, there is pneuma, God, the divine, logos. This is like, pneuma means breath, and then breath can be split into, as we can see on this page here, where is it? Pneuma has tonos, which is tension, and tension is what transforms matter into other forms of matter or something, or complexifies matter. So a rock has less tonus or tension than a more complicated organism which has more tension. I think that's the correct understanding. Haile, I forgot what it is. Let me actually just look that up real quick. You're gonna get to see my AI. Haile Stoicism etymology. Haile means matter. So that's just stuff. That's matter. So I'm not going to wait for that to... Okay. So there's matter, and then pneuma or pneuma, which is air or breath. And that has tension. And that's what creates the different varieties of things. They also associate this with logos, although logos is its own thing, as we can see over here, and there's different parts of logos. So there's logos spermatikos, which is like the, what is it called, the seminal principle, the seminal rational principle of the universe. Then there's orthos logos, which is associated with ethics. It's the right reason. See, this Venn diagram, don't worry about it too much. It's AI. I messed it up a little bit. I put it into a list, and because I listified it, it categorized things wrong. So don't worry about the fact that this should be an overlap with ethics in some places, I think. Right reason is part of acting in alignment with nature and stuff, and then there's nomos, which is... let's check again. Nomos. To distribute or allot. Law, custom, convention represents rational law aligned with nature. So that's that. To poion, to act, active. So this is the active principle, right? Like I was saying earlier with in this situation, it's the active principle that allows change and like makes things change in the world. And then principle 2, matter. So this is haile. To paskon, to be acted upon. So what's acted upon and the thing that is active. And that makes up ousia, which is... I'm going to keep looking up terms, for just bear with me. Being, essence, substance, derived from the feminine participle einai, to be. So that makes up pretty much most of the physics, at the time. And then there's the subsistence thing, which is strange. These incorporeals, void, time, place, and sayables, or lecta. In this diagram to the left, this is over here. So you can see again, when I tried to convert this, it didn't keep everything that needs to be here. Now I'm going to need to reference my thing. My piece of paper that I have the glossary of terms on. So, just to get an understanding of what's going on here, these terms to the left. Let's start with Uriah Bu. So, Uriah Bu is the smooth flow of life, living in harmony with oneself and the cosmos. You can see how the categories got messed up. This is supposed to be under anthropos, I think. Bona conscientia, good conscience. But then again, the Stoics also did associate these things with the physical world, but this diagram is still not completely correct, I don't think. Eudaimonia, which is a state of moral goodness, is not supposed to be here either. Anyway, let's focus on this diagram to the right. It's more accurate anyway. So we have void, time, place, and sayables, or lecta. See logic. So we're just going to scoot over to logic for a second. Sayables, they carry meaning that's incorporeal. So this is, this whole idea of these words, void, time, place. They carry meaning, but are incorporeal to the Stoics. Then we have void, which is infinite, and then the cosmos is within the void, which is the whole. The reason why they had all of this is because they believed that the universe in its end heats up, and that requires expansion, and so there needs to be space for it to expand in for some reason. Conflagration is only pneuma, fire, breath, energy during the state before returning to matter, pneuma. Cycle repeats. The great conflagration, the ekpyrosis, and eternal recurrence, eternal return. So they believed that the whole cosmos was going to expand, so they figured, okay, there must be a void. God, who pervades the entire cosmos, forms the cosmos into a harmonious whole and orders events in a providential manner. Chrysippus argues that fate and providence are the same thing. Stoic theory of cosmic sympathy is the suggestion that there is a continued interaction between all parts of the cosmos, no matter how far apart they may be. And this is where things bleed into ethics also. And then they have this eternal recurrence thing. I'm not going to spend much more time on that because I still don't understand it. But then we have time. Examples of subsist equals past and future. So they felt like the past technically isn't physical, and the future isn't physical, but they have a reality to it. Examples of belongs, present, more. And then this is like the splits thing. Subsistence versus belongs. Present belongs. More real than the past or future, but still an incorporeal. So, let's see. Existing is not the highest ontological genus. Reality is highest. Only individual particulars can be real if it is, quote unquote, not something. It is not part of Stoic ontology, such as Plato's universal ideals. If someone is in Athens, he is not Megara. Man is in Athens. Therefore, man is not in Megara. So there's an example of the logic going on there. A body must to act or to be acted upon, right? Because those are the two categories in the Stoic physics. How long has this been going? How long have we been going? Oh my gosh. Come on, there we go. 13 minutes. Then I'll briefly cover all of these terms in this cosmos area here. So, Theos is obviously God. Logos, spermatikos, orthos, logos, and nomos I covered already, I think. And ousia I covered. Essence. Sympatheia, together feeling, state is the etymology of that. So all things, this is that idea of all things being connected together that was down here somewhere. And syngeneia, together source state, so all things coming from some unified thing. And then over here, physis, kata physin means to follow nature. So within the idea of to follow nature is the telos, the ultimate end of living life, and that's eudaimonia, a state of having a good soul. Good soul state is what that translates to. Eudaimonia, good soul state. Then you have euroia bu, which is that state of flow. It's a good flow state. Bene vivendi, which is a good life, I think. Let me double check that. Bene vivendi, living well. The art of virtuous living according to nature. And then bona conscientia, good conscience. So very similar idea. And then autarkeia, self-sufficiency, mental independence of all things, which is not complete independence of people around you, because that's against, you know, the whole idea that humans have a common nature and we should relate to each other in that sense. And then taparaphizin, I think, means to follow nature. Let me just double check that. No, taparaphizin is things contrary to nature, often used to describe vice and unnatural desires, because it's out of alignment with telos. You can notice it's not in katavizin, it's the opposite, it's taparaphizin. And then there's anthropos, which is within natura. And within all of this, katavizin is ethics, because that's within telos. So we go over here, and then that's where Stoic ethics starts. I'll make that the next video, I suppose. I think we covered everything we need to, more or less. So that was actually quite productive. Leave a comment if you have any thoughts. Share this with anyone you like. And I hope this helped in some sense. And I hope you have a good day. And I wish you well. Goodbye.